And you're welcome back to Off the Ball here on News Talk, where we're joined by Kerry's All-Ireland winning manager Jack O'Connor. Jack, how are you?
Not so bad, John. Lacking a bit of sleep and whatever, but the adrenaline will keep us going for another couple of days anyway.
What's the last few days been like, Jack?
It's been great, John, to be honest with you. The reception we got when we came back into Kerry was just unbelievable. We never thought we'd see the scenes that we saw in Tralee on Monday night. I mean, they still talk about 97 when we brought back the cup after 11 years. I was selected with Paddy that time. And, when we turned down to Diddy Street, the sea of green and gold was incredible that time. But I think, if anything, Monday night surpassed that. So, unbelievable scenes. And we've been in, Killarney, Kinmare, Dingle last night, my own place, Drummond tonight. So it's been a great week, unbelievable.
You're talking there, Jack, about 25 years being involved in Kerry. This is the fourth time you've been involved as a manager. You've been able to drink a little bit more maybe than the past. Is it really fulfilling now?
Yeah, as you get older, you appreciate it more. I probably thought I wouldn't get the chance to sample it again, to be honest with you, John. I mean, my last All-Ireland with Kerry was 2009, which is 13 years ago, Normally people don't come back after 13 years, but look, it's just been a dream come true for me to see some of the minors that I coached in 14 and 15 coming through the last day. That's very, very fulfilling.
What did you feel you needed to do, Jack, when you got the job last autumn? Because Kerry had painful defeats to Dublin, to Cork, to Tyrone. What did you feel you needed to do? I
just thought that they were very close. They just needed a little bit of a defensive organisation and maybe get at the same time just marry it a little bit with the traditional Kerry kicking style. I think we kicked the ball a lot this year. I mean, in the All-Ireland final there, we had even, like Sir Graham O'Sullivan, a young fella coming up from cornerback, kicking two great diagonal balls into David Clifford early on for match. And kicking a couple more in the second half, which led to scores. I just felt that we just needed to get the mix right between a counter-attacking game and a kicking game, and get that defensive organisation right. So I think they were the two main tweaks,
I'm bringing Paddy Talley in, and you must be proud of the fact that you only conceded, one goal in the championship?
Yeah, that was a fair good strike by Conor Costello. So, yeah, look, I always feel that a Kerry team has a great chance if you're not conceding goals. I mean, Kerry were very close last year. It was just the 3 goals that they conceded against Tyrone that ultimately cost them. So that was a big aim this year to stop goals.
Did it feel that the Dublin game was a huge psychological lift for you? Did you feel in the weeks between the Dublin and the Galway game that you were lifted by that Sean O'Shea free?
Yeah, it was a kind of a liberation, all right, John, to be honest. Look, the biggest issue we had was trying to come back down to earth and get the players back down to earth after the Dublin game, because you must understand like that there was a huge buzz around the county after that game, and my job and the management job was trying to explain to the players, look, that's great, lads, we haven't won, like, this is going to be a very tough final. And I thought we played in the first half the last day with that burden still on the players' shoulders, that expectation and that pressure, and it took us to half time and maybe getting them into the dressing room and resetting at half time before we threw off the shackles and actually played like the team are capable of playing. I mean, we kicked 13 points the second half of an All-Ireland final, and I mean, by anyone's standards, that's good going.
Did you have a cut off them, Jack, at half time?
Well, it depends what you call it. Cut off. Normally speaking, I'd be very measured at half time. I don't believe in even raising my voice, but I was quite animated because I felt that there were players who were playing well below par and who just needed maybe a little bit of a jolt to get them going. And I was very happy the way we played in the second half, because we really needed reaction, John. We weren't playing well, and I thought we got that.
To be fair to Killian and Adrian Spillane, they made a real impact off the bench, didn't they?
They did. Every one of the subs that we put on made an impact, and we feel that we have a good, strong panel. And I mean, there were other players who were unavailable to us, like Sadala Mine, was very close to starting, injured his ankle on Tuesday night. Mike Breen, a really promising weak half-back who played under me with the minors in 15 and was on the team last year, tore a hamstring very badly at the start of the year, and he was out for the whole season. Dylan Casey had done tremendously well for us cornerback, and he injured himself in the Limerick game. So, I mean, we all those fellas will be bursting to go next year and ready to come back and prove a point.
David Clifford has got such huge admiration within the county, within the country, Jack. And when you read anything about David, it seems like he always strives to improve his game all the time. Do you find that?
Look, he's a remarkable young man. I mean, you have to take into consideration that he's doing this under the most extreme pressure. And so that's the sign of a great player, a great man. It was like 97. The pressure Kerry were under to end the famine and the display of Morris Fitz that year. It's in the same kind of category because the weight of expectation is on these men to produce, and he does it. David Clifford does it time after time. He jumps every hurdle that's put in front of him, and sure, that's a sign of a great man. And
he seems to embrace it, Jack, because he's fist pumping with the crowd. He seems to thrive on it a bit as well.
He does. Look, he's just a remarkably mature young lad, and he's just got a great temperament. I in the morning, just before we had our final few words, before we got on the bus, I sat down with him. He was drinking a cup of coffee, and you swear to God, he was going for a walk in the park. He was so relaxed. So that's a great trait to have that temperament.
That must have relaxed you as well, Jack.
I don't know now, John, how relaxed we wanted to have to relax, when you know what's on the line. But
yeah,
look, we did our best. You have to get the combination right between being relaxed and being up for it,
It's a real great journey with young people, isn't it, Jack? Like, there's a real journey from the start of the league through the championship to reaching the pinnacle of sport, and only like a handful of Kerry players like David Moran or Paul Gainey had experienced that before. So for these young lads, it's a great moment in their lives.
They're having the time of their lives, John, and I think they realise that. I mean, when you see how much joy that those boys brought to a whole county, and to see the joy in the people's faces, I mean, that's very, very fulfilling for those young lads, and it's the thing that will bring them back again and again, to try and do it in the years to come. It's
in the blood in the county, isn't it, Gaelic football?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I know it's a cliche, John, but it's an absolute religion. I mean, you'd have heard stories after the Dublin game of people not being able to listen to the match or watch the match and go outside the door and going down their knees praying and all this. And when you hear stuff like that, it just brings it home to you how much it means to the people.
And just to finish, Jack, I mean, the closeness of the championship with Galway and Armagh and Derry and Dublin, it's going to be a great season next season.
Yeah, it's a very, very competitive championship, John. But I said, something to be a few weeks before we start thinking of next year's championship. We'll do our level best to enjoy this one.
You're going to the club, Jack, this evening, I believe.
Yeah, we're going back to Drummond. I mean, it's 16 years since we went back there with the cup, myself and Declan, which was a unique occasion, for a small club like Drummond.